some of the younger generation doesn't really fit into the typical mold of the 9 to 5. And you were saying that some of the companies were forward thinking and giving like 1 day a week where they could work on other projects.
Right.
Does this fit into that?
I think so. I think that satisfies that entrepreneurial spirit within a large organization. Some folks listening know that I remember that I was a part of Citrix, and one thing Citrix started after I left, and I thought this was a really good idea. They allowed people to have side jobs, basically encouraged them to some extent to, you didn't have to hide it or act like you weren't doing it. They were saying, you can go ahead and moonlight. We'd like it to be something that's related, in some way, but it doesn't have to be. And the reason they did that is they didn't want to lose people that wanted to be entrepreneurial. So they wanted to give them an entrepreneurial outlet within the organization. And they even set up an accelerator incubator here in town before they were acquired.
Sure they didn't do that because they didn't want to give people raises?
No, could be. I don't know.
Well, that's another great way of keeping your employees happy, though,
Right.
because then they can fulfill their dream and not feel frustrated on the job.
Exactly. And you want a certain number of entrepreneurial people in your organization. You don't want everyone to run around feeling like they're entrepreneurs. But I think a lot of people are like you in the sense that they feel like they want a paycheck or they want to know that their insurance is going to be covered and things like that. It's very normal. It's very rational to feel that. It's irrational to feel otherwise. But at the same time, you want to create and you want to build and you want to do new things. There are certainly many opportunities within large organizations, and I would say for any young person that's listening to this, ask when you're being recruited and you're interviewing, ask about those opportunities. What are the new initiatives that this company's pursuing? I think I would flourish in a new initiative versus something that's...
These are letting you work out of these co-working facilities and out of your home.
Right.
Is the term new? Is it a new word, entrepreneur?
Not necessarily.
No. Yeah. Hey, John, thank you. We're running out of time this week, but we get you next week.
All right, I'll be back.
Send your questions in to coworkradio.com. You can find it there. And also, don't forget, you mentioned the iTunes UC TV, and it is called Innovator Stories. Is that correct?
Thank you.
Yeah, check that out as well. John, we'll see you next week.
All right.
You are listening to Co-work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM, and we'll be back right after this.
Koto Group. We are a boutique property management firm located here in the Central Coast. We are small enough to prioritize your business and large enough to match the right tenants with your property. Koto Group. We work for you 24/7 with around-the-clock marketing and emergency service. At Koto Group, we use leading-edge software, making us efficient and cost-effective. Koto Group. Property management for the 21st century. Koto Group. We are a boutique property management firm located here in the Central Coast. We are small enough to prioritize your business and large enough to match the right tenants with your property. Koto Group. We work for you 24/7 with around-the-clock marketing and emergency service. At Koto Group, we use leading-edge software, making us efficient and cost-effective. Koto Group. Property management for the 21st century.
Do you have a special event coming up? Go to Zoto's for all your party needs. At Zoto's, they offer packages for birthday parties, corporate and team building events, accompanied, of course, with a light show, DJ, delicious food, bowling, and full bar. Call 967-0128, where the staff will help you plan and execute an exciting event, all within your budget. Go to Zotos.com to book your party now, because when you're having an event, it's got to be Zoto's.
The Central Coast may seem laid back, but when it's time to work, no one works harder, including the bank that's grown up here. Montecito Bank and Trust offers customized lending and banking for all businesses, big and small. It's harder than offering one-size-fits-all solutions, but it's the right thing to do. And here, getting things right is a way of life. Montecito Bank and Trust. Behind every great community is a great bank. Montecito.bank. Member FDIC.
Welcome to Co-work Radio. I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And I'm Catherine Raymock.
Drew Cuddy is here with us in the studio. Drew is a certified wine instructor and owner of Satellite, which is a very popular wine bar, restaurant, and retail shop right here in Santa Barbara. Satellite offers fresh, locally grown food and small production wine and beer. How are you doing, Drew?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
You know, I've talked to a number of people who have tried to open restaurants, wine shops, and they end up giving up because it's such a complex process. What is the process, and how did you get through it? Could you give anybody advice?
Yeah, the process is throwing caution to the wind and learning as you do it. I guess I never worked in restaurants before either, so this was totally new for me. But it's working out, and we're having fun, and I think we've got some great programming and really great food and wine and beer, and the experiences.
Your motivation behind it really was your love of wine. Is
Yeah.
that what prompted this all? And that started at a young age. How?
Yeah, my father started an importing company when I was 18. I was in college, and he turned to me and said, "Would you like to go to Italy every summer?" And I said, "Yeah, when can I go?" He said, "Well, book
and
your
how
ticket,
can I get
and
adopted?
you're paying for it." So I went and lived with winemakers across Italy and France and Spain pretty much every summer in college, and they were all organic and biodynamic small family farms.
Do you speak Italian or French now?
Si, un po'.
Et français?
Aussi en français, no.
But so those, from what I understand, you can expand on this, those wine growers in the small farming communities, sort of different than your average larger vineyards,
Yeah.
right? And that is your flavor. That's what you love most. What is it about them that sets them apart from the other wineries?
So there's so something so special about small family farm that was either started a few years ago or 600 years ago by an ancestor of the person who's there farming every day. They're generally an expression of one family or of one person even. They are oftentimes a little bit more based in place because you're not getting this homogeny of a million different vineyards that are all sort of bulked into one big vat. It's like, this is one piece of land. This is one house. This is one type of yeast that grows in this cellar exclusively. And this is the style of this one person who's doing it, whether they be out, every morning very early smoking a cigarette on the back of their tractor as they till the soil, or if they're getting their cows or their horse ready to till the soil biodynamically, or, any number of things. But to have smaller sort of micro expressions of these things, you get a lot more clarity in the wine for those things. And I think
So blind taste test, you could tell the difference, do you think?
So blind testing is an interesting thing because there's so much out there. It's
But
like,
could you tell the
what am I
difference
looking at?
between a French wine, an Italian, and a California?
Sure. Yeah, they're
I could do that with
basic,
chocolate.
They're
People don't
basic
believe it, but I can.
indicators. I'm going to put a plug in for our blind tasting nights every
Yeah, I wanna
Tuesday.
hear about that.
So come on Tuesday nights, 5 till 10. We got brown bags and wines in them. But
Seriously?
yeah, it's
Actual, you wrap
we do.
brown
We
bags?
wrap them in brown bags.
Do you ever
It's
put
$10 come in.
anything like, in a skillen or $2 chuck in there or something?
I like to throw in like maybe one tongue twister every once in a while.
But something that's not a good wine? Because
well,
that's always fun when people can't figure that out.
good wine is that's subjective.
Relative.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, is part of that doing that the blind tasting and also the way that you present your business? It seems like you really want to educate people about wine.
Yeah.
Is that part of your motivation?
Definitely. So I was a total newcomer to the wine industry. My dad was as well when he started his company, and I became a professional in wine through taking courses through the WSET and the Guild of Master Sommeliers, and really honing my objective knowledge and also honing my palate, which really is your laboratory. So it's not just your tongue; it's your eyes and your nose and your mouth, and the feeling that you get from a wine and assessing that. So I came into it very much through an educational side.
I love this brown bag. I think I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
You tell people, they're all either red or white, right? It's not, or
Yeah,
you
so
don't have
we-
like a sherry, a red, a white that you'd have to
We
be.
can. So basically what I follow is the WSET and Guild of Master Sommelier level 2 and 3 rubric for which wines we can put out. And so there's a whole bunch in there. But it's
English,
not.
could you say
yeah,
that
so
again?
that's the Wine and Spirits Education Trust, one educating platform, and the other one is the Guild of Master Sommeliers. And so they have a rubric that you can follow for what's testable or examinable in their exams. So my goal with this Tuesday night thing is to give professionals and enthusiasts in our community a regular place where they can come and test their skills. If they get them all right, I'm going to give them to you for free. Nobody's getting them right. all of them, but it's a great place to come test. It's challenging.
But you're having more professionals. So
Yeah.
if Catherine and I came.
It'd just be fun for us.
It would be fun. You know what?
Who knows? Maybe you're
Wait
a
a
savant.
minute. Maybe we could win a free.
Yeah,
free
maybe you're
drink.
good.
Well, you know
Try
what
that.
strikes me as you're talking is that it's very interesting, and we've talked to other people too, and sort of this new generation of entrepreneurs in getting away from something. In this particular case, what used to be sort of this snobby kind of tradition of wine tasting, and into this, you're promoting farming and organic. Is this a trend? Are you on the cutting edge, Drew?
I think, sure. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's say I'm on the cutting edge. But I think as a general sort of thing for the industry, the big brands are already established and they've got their own modes of distribution and everything. But my interest is not in that. I'm interested in the farmer's market. I'm interested in individual farmers, and I'm interested in quality farming. I grew up on a farm in Canada. To me, that's what makes wine interesting, is these personalities and the characters of the wine. So what I'm looking for is quality, which that's the major part of the training that I've done for blind tasting, is assessing quality. So I'm looking for quality and individuality and typicity and feelings in a wine, and stories to tell. So yeah, I don't think we're on the breaking cutting edge, but we're part of a new
carry
group.
if you're not using the names we've all heard of.
I taste all day, every day. As much wine as I can pass through my mouth, but I spit.
I was about to say, you don't sound like you've had anything.
Come by and visit me at the brass bar with my little brass bucket, and I'm always spitting in it.
So this is a great segue from that to how do you pair, though, with food, and how much difference does it make? And do you have a large kitchen? Or?
We have a 120 square foot kitchen. It's about the size of this recording studio, so it's really small.
And bigger than my kitchen.
Yeah, right. So. I say I have the easiest job in town as a sommelier because I am looking for wines that express freshness and this sort of farming background, and where all of our food is from the farmer's market, and so it's all crisp and fresh and delicious. So for me, that's the pairing that I'm looking for, is wines that are, I call them soif. That's what the French word is for just wines for drinking. A lot of our wines are just soif wines, which are really fun expressions of a single vintage in a single place. And they just, they come and they go. And our menu reflects that. It changes on a daily basis as we run through wine.
And you also sell the wine. So since it's small amounts, there's a real incentive to buy it that day and not come, which is a great marketing
That's
strategy.
the big trick with our by the glass menus. I'm exposing people to something they might love, and then I get to say at the end,
we actually don't. You just finished it.
Yeah, that was our second to last bottle for the low price of $20. You can take home the other one.
You can get a wine for $20.
Yeah, so our menu goes from about $20 as our low bottle price up to. In the extreme, sometimes up to about $200 for fine champagnes and just sort of things that I keep around for one or two friends who really want to drink.
So do you have
quality.
with I know this because you're in front of Impact Hub, and I'm sure you have a lot of business from Impact Hub, some of the people that are working there. But do you find yourself getting some of the, I don't know, I was going to say sort of younger generation that maybe has gone from just really beer drinking, and then this is their first sort of taste of, this is wine.
Yeah,
and
we get a lot of
themselves. Or?
We get especially a lot of people in the service industry and in the wine industry who are doing internships at wineries around town, who are just interested in learning more and experiencing things that aren't just Santa Barbara, which we have a great Santa Barbara collection, but are looking for things to compare around the world. So when I bring in Santa Barbara wines, I have to bring in a wine that's comparable from, say, the Loire Valley or from northern Italy. And so we'll talk about that and have a conversation about those two different wines. And I'm always trying to compare and contrast and educate
people. You also have an
especially
event on Monday nights, too. It's a satellite flight. What's
Flight
that?
Nights. Flight Nights are every Monday. And so Monday nights we also do 3 wines, just like Brown Bag Night, except they are generally thematic. I'm looking for, whatever I've brought on new that week that I can really talk about and share and get people excited about. And oftentimes it's one or two things that are going to be on by the glass, either right then or shortly after. And sometimes other things I'm just so hyped. And
if you're an Impact Hub member, you get 10% off the tasting or
10%
the wine?
off everything all the time at Satellite.
Wow. Okay. Catherine and I we're going to discuss whether we're coming Monday or Tuesday.
I know Jane started the interview this way, and then we kind of went in another direction. But I do know how hard it is to, liquor license is almost impossible, but beer or wine is still challenging. And and you said you'd never been in the restaurant industry before, so maybe that was good, not knowing the challenge.
I have a lot of friends who took a lot of faith in me, and I'm just trying to make it.
But advice to anybody else that might be just starting out and thinking, "Oh, it'd be so great to have my own bar, restaurant."
I mean, so much of it was I developed this concept as we went along, and I saw